What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. Man, this week has been a doozy, man. Just from whether it's personal stuff or it's what's going on in the world, man. We need this right here. At the end of the day, the barbershop is always here. What's up, Mr. Reid?
Hey man, you said the right words in the boy, it was a long week.
Yeah.
Long week. Nothing like barbershop to let it all out for a few hours.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Go ahead. Let your head down. We're going to talk it out, man. But y'all see the topics and titles today. But we're going to open it. We got to talk about Mr. Juwan Howard. Now, if we're going to be completely honest, Juwan Howard, those were grounds for termination. He could be fired right now. They took it easy on him. I was shocked that he only got 5 games. I seen they floated rest of the season, but they gave him the 5 games. Okay. And one of the reasons, probably most likely why, is because Greg Gard, if he doesn't start it up, that doesn't happen. Because Juwan was going to walk right by him. He grabbed Juwan's arm, pointing it, fingers in his chest. And in the interview, he made it seem like he didn't do that and he was the victim. No, sir, you grabbed his arm and you impeded him. But Juwan lost his cool when that assistant coach came in, said whatever, and I seen him kind of shove the Michigan player a little bit, and that's when the hand came out. But the punishment I think fits. Some people wanted more, but I did see where Bill Burr was like, he's like, it's some people who disagree with going to war. They agree with going to war, but they disagree with Juwan Howard slapping the assistant coach. How? I don't understand how the two really don't equate. But Juwan Howard is lucky he got off with just 5 games.
Yeah, he's lucky. He's lucky. But I'll say this: if he wasn't Juwan Howard, he wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
That's first of all. So, and it was a bad. The thing is, no matter what, Juwan got enemies in the college basketball world. Just people use this incident and the things that they wanted to say have been picked up and not said, but now they're saying it now. And I thought Jalen Rose said it accurately.
He was good.
Yeah,
I saw his
about the whole situation. And Juwan, man, it's like, man, it wasn't a good look, but it wasn't just on him. Both head coaches didn't act according to what their job title is. And I've seen Michigan run the score up on teams a couple of years ago. They had great teams. So, I mean, a lot of times when you have the great team and then you come back and you lose guys to graduation, where the team that you was beaten by 13, 14, 20 points, sports is all about payback too. But I agree with you. I think it should be more said about that. The Wisconsin coach didn't act professional either. Stopping his progress, putting the finger in his chest, and it just, let's just put it on this thing. You got to act like grown folks, man. You don't.
Yeah.
And this is for both sides. You don't want the coach to be the ones who escalate a problem. I said this even with like the Urban Meyers. You got to be the example setter, even if it's. I know for Juwan still got player in him. It's hard for a player to have that mentality that I'm not a player no more.
What up, Ness?
Hey, what's up? And I'm not going to fight for my guys. And he's always going to have the player in him, the player first and then coach second. But I don't like for guys to make themselves be targets. And Juwan know what the deal is. There's going to be guys, when you make the jump from the NBA into coaching college basketball, they're going to automatically be enemies that, just to prove a point that, college coaches don't want to be upstaged, basically.
Yeah.
They don't want to have a guy that's been a college coach for 15 years and Juwan come in, even though he was assistant with the Miami Heat, come in, win the Big Ten conference titles, and have a great team, out recruit teams, and you're going to get some animosity. And I felt that he had animosity a couple of years ago. He had a great team a couple of seasons ago. And you don't want to add, even if you got flames around you, you don't want to add lighter fluid to the flame. You don't want you want to have a reason to be criticized or give the university a reason that we don't want to have conversations that about not showing professionalism, not being in character, what we represent as a university. You don't want to have all that conversational talk. So
no, you're right.
I do feel it wasn't as bad as I've seen some criticism.
What up, Josh?
He needs to be fired immediately, and
Yeah.
he should never be the Michigan coach. And 5 games is too light, and and you don't want to have this where 2 years from now we still talking about. Do you remember when Juwan, laid hands on an assistant? So
yeah. I mean, and the explanation from Greg Gard about the timeout, it didn't make any sense. Well, I didn't want to put my guys in a situation. There was only 4 seconds left, and you get 10 to make it across the half-point line, and so it was 4 seconds left. So I wanted to call a timeout. You were up by 15 or 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
What would it have mattered at that time?
Yeah.
What that was purposefully done. The way he tried to explain it away. Come on, don't lie. Don't give me coach speak. You did it on purpose because you were running it up on Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. You wanted to go back to Madison, Wisconsin, and Juwan in that victory.
Yes. Yeah. So now the look on their face though, he did slap dude. It was priceless. Now, if it didn't incite a brawl and it had just been that altercation, maybe looked at differently. But players started to get involved. Injuries could have happened, and it's just that even though nothing really happened in the muddle, in the middle of the pushing and shoving, because basketball is hurry up and hold me back. Football, they may fight depending on the team, but basketball is hold me back. That's what they do. So nothing really happened, but just the scene and the way it looked gave the shades of anything that's close to malice at the palace. The way that looked, teams are like, yo, we don't want that image at all. So you come down swift on stuff like that.
Yeah, 5 games. He's I don't think they're gonna make the tournament, so I guess he's done for the season. So
yeah. I was gonna say, look like they could face Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament, they'll meet him in the finals though.
So he wouldn't be eligible to coach
for the Big Ten tournament. I haven't heard that he's not eligible.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard that he's not eligible. But they are in the tournament and they got to think the 7th seed.
All right. Well, the only thing I heard was he was the final 5 games of the regular season.
Yeah, that's all I heard too. So he probably can coach. See, Josh still says my problem of concern is that this is a trend for Howard, who also had issues against Maryland in 2020. Yeah, he's made himself a target, man.
Yeah,
he has, and you're right. He's made himself a target. He's made enemies too. Just I guess NBA guys coming to that level to coach, there seems to be animosity. Period. I mean, look at the way they did. What's that? Penny in Memphis. They had some animosity with Penny in Memphis. Penny was out recruiting people, and so they looked at them books and showed that okay, it is what it is. All teams do stuff like that. They shady practices in recruiting. It is what it is. But they do have a target on their back because those college coaches are like, yo, why is he getting this opportunity? I was an assistant for 15 years. They just giving it away to this guy because he's an NBA player.
And that's what they think. That's what you just said is why the animosity. Why my assistant on my staff who's been 14 years as assistant, done everything, don't get that opportunity to coach, be a head coach. And that's what they feel. They feel that the opportunity has been taken away from somebody who came up the ranks. And and they consider the privileged one, like a Juwan should be coaching in the NBA and not in college. because he had no prior college experience other than playing when he got the Michigan job. And that's hey man, sports is just like real world, man. It'll be just like somebody on the job and they got a promotion and they might have not been there no more than 8 months, and it's all this, oh yeah, he must know the boss.
Yeah. Now, one I can say that hasn't got that vitriol and hate, at least openly, maybe behind the scenes, is Patrick Ewing. I guess his image and how him being a Knick and how he was pretty much well liked. I don't think he wasn't one of those guys where people hated. Everybody pretty much liked Patrick Ewing. So I haven't heard any animosity with him being at Georgetown. But yeah, Juwan Howard, Penny Hardaway, shoot, even what's your boy? Got that country talk. David Robinson, the Tim Duncan, the Twin Towers. What's his name? Avery Johnson. Even Avery Johnson got some heat, man.
Yeah, he ain't no longer coaching, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But Juwan, he's lucky to come out of that. I know from now on, just keep it moving, man. Because anything after this, it's a wrap. You got to let him go. He gets into anything close to this again, you got to let him go. You gave him some grace.
But I can recall a couple of times that he came off the bench when he was with the Heat as assistant. Just a little tussle, not that he threw a punch or nothing, but you could see his presence on the sideline, and he looked angry. It looked like somebody had to hold him back from going on the court. But that's his. I mean, to be honest, that's sort of his personality, man. Even though he was on that Fab Five team, he wasn't, he wasn't the most outspoken.
Yeah.
But he's a fiery guy, man. He
got some edge to him.
Yeah, he got some edge. He's 6'11", I don't think the coach from Wisconsin was, about 6 feet?
Barely. He was towering over him.
Yes, he was. He stopped the progress, so.
Yeah. Hey, when he was poking him in the chest, he was looking up. Yeah, he was poking him in the chest.
Juwan, a big guy, man.
Yeah. And see, Josh said, I'm surprised the assistant coach for Wisconsin didn't get disciplined. Whatever he said triggered Howard. Yeah, the assistant, you were not in it and you rushed in. He should have faced discipline.
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't rush in, Howard doesn't throw that punch.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's just a mother huddle. It's like, whatever, you this, and they split them apart. But then Duke come in, say whatever, kind of shove the player, and Juwan lost it, man.
Yeah, he lost it.
Yeah. So, it is what it is, but we'll see how it is going forward. Like you said, I don't think they're eligible for the tournament, but the NCAA tournament yet. But if they can make some noise in the Big Ten tournament, who knows, man? But we'll see what's happening. I don't think they have a really good team anyway. I don't know if they're going to go anywhere. Even if they're able to muster it up, they'll probably be bounced in the first or second round if they do make the NCAA tournament. But this is a teaching moment for him and his team.
Yeah, but this is probably the moment where he's going to upgrade his recruiting and come back with one of them nice teams like he had,
Probably. Yeah, probably.
So. Some more horses in there, man.
Yeah. So, man, we're going to put a pin in that right there. We're going to get into some football before we go back to basketball. And I want to ask you about this. I waited so I could ask you about this. So, have you heard the rumors and the hearsay about Brady and Arians' relationship souring towards the end, especially once he got his Achilles ruptured and he had to get surgery? Byron and Tom were making the game plans, and he would come in after they made them and start changing everything. And they said it drove a wedge between them where Byron and Tom had issues with Arians.
Well, I believe it. I mean, even though he denies it, I saw Bruce Arians pop a guy upside the helmet when he came.
We saw that. We at Buffalo Wild Wings when he did that.
Yeah, popped the guy on the upside the head and didn't apologize for it afterwards.
Yeah,
I mean, I commend him for what he did as far as being a trendsetter with all the minority hires on his staff. He got women on the staff, but there are some. I mean, he's a little volatile. I mean, he's
he's volatile.
He's a little. I can't even describe. Just a little abrupt, and he was like that in Arizona toward the end. He had health issues and things like that. And even you go back to the Antonio Brown situation, some of it could be believable, some of it could not be believable. But I really think that he's a guy.
What up, Dale?
That he wants everything funneled through him. I think he wants his public image to be different than what he's actually is. I think when he see things not particularly going the way that he wants. I mean, that one thing I think that he disliked a little bit about Tom Brady would change plays. I mean, he had the authority to, whether it was granted or not. I mean, mostly it was an earned privilege that, Tom was going to do things the way Tom wanted. And he didn't really care that it might have lit a fuse with Arians,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you get when you get a guy like Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls, that, he's a little bigger than Arians and probably the biggest player that Arians has probably coached. And I know he coached.
He's coached some greats.
Great.
Coached some greats.
Roethlisberger and people like that. But
Palmer and guys like that.
Yeah, but for stature, credibility, it's hard. It's hard to go in the meeting room and Tom say, "I think it would work if we do it this way." And this is another thing. Arians didn't want Antonio Brown on the team. And not this last incident. It's like he said publicly that he would never play for the Bucs. And Tom kept after him, like, man, we need to get this guy. I mean, he's a great receiver. He add to the room, and lo and behold, Arians changed his mind. He allowed him on the team. But I just think, man, we all got that male ego. Even though we want to have, a collaborative way of decision making, that sometimes we also want to let the people know that I'm still boss. And I think that happened with Arians. He was an older guy in the last end of his coaching career. And I think he said, look, I don't put in the years. I'm not going to be talked to any kind of way, even by Tom Brady. And the bottom line is I'm the boss. And if I want to make changes to the playbook or I want to do something last minute, I am the boss. And I think I think he's old school. But the one thing I like about him is that he's adaptable to the point that he's not a tyrant. Like he don't force it, He understands that, you have to back away, You can't be Tom Coughlin 24 hours a day. Because I think he's got some Tom Coughlin in him too. But
I think so too. So I seen where Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, he because it was Orenberger who played with Brady who made these claims, and Rick Stroud responded to Orenberger by continuing that Arians took the job on condition of not game planning and that he had no figurative red pen, that it was always leveraging Brady doing the game planning. Okay, so Rick Stroud, that doesn't tell me anything, sir. All that tells me is that was what was agreed to when he walked in the door. What is going on currently right now? So I believe they drew up game plans. He come in with his red pen. No. I believe he did that. I do. I believe 100% he did that.
I agree with you. Yep, I think he did too. And it could have been like 20. What we talking about Friday night or something. Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do it this way. Oh, we got to do it this way. No, that's the wrong way. We want them to go outside. Well, no, we don't want them to go inside. Bring the tight end, drag them around, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. Okay, you just write it what you want.
Yeah. Just write what you want. Yeah, that's it, man. So, and now this is the other parts of this, and this is hearsay too, but rumors that he may unretire. He's contemplating it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons he retired abruptly is because of course, Giselle wanted him to retire. And, he, the physical toll it takes on his body, but also his relationship with Arians. But now the rumor is that he may end up in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And if this was any other team, I would be like, nah, they just fishing. But San Francisco is significant because in 2017, San Francisco called the Patriots about Tom, not Garoppolo. They got Garoppolo out of the deal because Kraft nixed the deal with Brady going to the 49ers. He's like, no, that's not happening. So he's like, well, do you want Garoppolo? And they gave them Garoppolo. But they wanted Brady initially. Do they say no to Brady right now if he called him and tell him he want to
come? No.
Right.
Well, they got that right. They'll make arrangements.
Yes. Trey Lance, hey, you the future. You got to take a back seat, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, however long Brady wants, you take the
however long. Yeah. You're going to have an Aaron Rodgers career to start off. 3 years on the bench.
To take advantage of the learning.
Yeah. Hey, do what Aaron Rodgers did in those 3 years he sat on the bench, what they did with him. They pretty much reworked his footwork and his whole throwing motion in those 3 years. There you go.
Yeah. I still think that's some of the reason why he bitter too.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, we're gonna go into Aaron Rodgers, and things come full circle. Aaron Rodgers is doing exactly what Brett Favre did to them just a few years ago.
Yes,
the exact same thing.
Yeah,
he learned from the best.
He won't allow the young kid to get the opportunity.
Yeah. But it makes sense that as long as Aaron Rodgers is an active NFL player, there's no reason for him to play for any other team. He should be a Packer.
Yeah, oh yeah. And on another topic a little bit, but it is on Aaron Rodgers. I don't understand like Denver's fascination. It's like 2 years ago, Denver and their reporters were already forecasting Aaron Rodgers is going to end up in Denver. I'm like, well, what connection? Yep. And I'm almost to the point now. I just hope you didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett.
Thinking that's the case. Yeah.
Basically, that he's the link to Aaron, and we're going to get him through Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, it's just like they're fascinated with this guy. And it's like that's a short-term plan. And it's not a long-term plan. I know there's not a great quarterback class in the draft, but man, you could. I mean, I think years ago, they could, at least 3 years ago, you could have did things to try to get a starting quarterback like 3 years ago. Move up in the draft. Yeah. Trade, make some trades or something. Get something. Especially to build it through the draft and get a quarterback through the draft after, 218 class, something. And they just sat on their hands, man. They just, they stayed with a bad quarterbacks. And now they're talking about Aaron Rodgers that they saving their hope that the franchise is going to be like they're waiting on the franchise savior. And there's no guarantee that this guy is gonna come to Denver. And if he does come to Denver, how many seasons do you really think he's gonna give you? 2, 3?
He's 38. So unless he's playing doing the Brady's playbook, I mean, you only probably going to get 2 or 3 seasons out of him. I don't see Aaron playing till 44.
Oh, either. Like, he got too many outside interests. I mean, it's like football is not the sole thing in his life. So,
and he's single again. You see, he just broke it off with his fiance.
Now I heard today that they were seen spotted at some restaurant yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So they were ripping the E Network had it wrong. So I don't know.
Okay, well, hey,
Man,
maybe
what
they
man do with his
reconciliation.
business, that's his personal business, man. But you know,
Yeah.
I think he's a little different. That's my opinion. I think he likes the attention. I think he
Mm-hmm.
draws attention, and I think he's still like a man in his midlife crisis trying to find himself. I don't think he's happy with himself, and I don't think he's happy with football. He just seems like he's just all over the map, you know.
Yeah.
Let me see if I say this, what type of reaction I'm gonna get. He go on that podcast and it's just like one thing after the
Yeah.
next he says to draw attention, man. It's that, but you know, it just seems to me when I watch them exit out the playoffs, it just seemed like they just look like we don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it looked like. It's like we don't have it
Yeah.
against this team. You know,
Mm-hmm.
since Frisco, we don't have it.
Yeah. They look defeated. He looked
Yeah,
defeated.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Defensive line was breaking through. He was under pressure. And it just seemed like, man, no matter what they was going to do, they wasn't going to get in the end zone. You know?
Yeah.
They don't have that mystique like they had before, man. It used to be teams when they were back in the Brett Favre days.
When you go to the frozen tundra, you
Yeah.
didn't walk out of there with a W, especially in the playoffs.
Man,
And yeah, they've lost some of that luster.
you dread it
Yeah.
going there. You know, you got the elements. You
Mm-hmm.
got this guy
Yeah.
slinging the ball around the field. And man, if you didn't come to play in Green Bay, it could be an embarrassment for you. Minnesota had many embarrassing Sundays in Green Bay.
Yes.
Name a
Yeah.
few. There was others too, but Chicago.
Aaron, Aaron is a diva.
Yeah,
Just call it what it is. He's a diva. Wide receivers always used to get bad raps, and they still do. You know, they still got Beckham as a diva. You know, the top guys as divas. Randy Moss diva, Terrell Owens diva. Nobody's more diva than quarterbacks, though. That's the funny part to me. Nobody's more diva than them. Even Brady. Brady's a diva.
Yeah,
They're divas, man. That's what they are. But it comes with the position. You know, it's kind of how they have to carry themselves. They have to. I want you to carry yourself like you are the guy. You are the leader. So I want that brash, that cockiness, that almost borderline arrogance. I do want that out of my top guy.
yeah, but you know what? You got to produce, though. You
have to produce.
You got to win. You got to throw touchdowns. You got to be consistent. You know, you got to go in, and you got to be a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a guy with character that you can lead other players, man. And not everybody. That Cleveland quarterback, I don't think he's figured it out. So
Jarvis Landry out of there.
Yeah.
He about to leave out of there. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Man, when you be like arrogant and you want the demand respect, you have to put some win on them. You know, you got to win, and Cleveland don't win enough. But you know, Aaron Rodgers win, so he can say and make dictation. You know, he can dictate terms and put them on the limb. I don't know if I'm coming back, and it's like June.
Mm-hmm.
He around there scrambling around and this and that. He criticized players. He do all that, but man, you know, he's earned that right because he's won games. He won a Super Bowl. He won one Super Bowl, but he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did. So, man, we'll see how the quarterback carousel pans out, especially once free agency start. They say Deshaun Watson has a list of teams lined up, regardless of the outcome of his trial and his case. They're ready to trade for him and ready to give very good compensation. So the quarterback carousel should heat up the closer we get to free agency.
Well, it's about time Houston do something, man. This guy been
sick. Got to.
Yeah, they got to move on. He's not going to play in Houston again. And just go whatever you can get for him, get it. But put your franchise in a position that you can move forward from it. You know, because right now the Texans are just stagnant. They're a stagnant franchise. And I know they're going with Lovie Smith and, on a new direction, but they got to get the elephant out the room, man. They gotta go on and, let Deshaun Watson, whatever
Let
that,
him go.
yeah, whatever happened with his case, let it go on, but let it go, all that go on in another city. That chapter need to be closed. It's almost like it's almost like the 76ers situation, but I don't like extended drama, man. It don't serve a purpose in sports, man.
No, it doesn't.
You if you're not, if when you know that he's not gonna ever take a snap for you, and 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 you just, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point what direction that case go. I mean, that's not it. He's never gonna play. He not only that, he doesn't want to play for the franchise anymore, and he's stuck by his guns with that. And it's just, if I was them, I would have just gone and cut my loss and just, hey, I would.
You have to.
Yeah.
But they're being greedy. They're being greedy like the 76ers are being greedy, and why it took so long to get a deal done. The market dictates what his value is, not you.
Right.
So if nobody wants to give up the farm for him, you're going to have to take half a farm. It is what it is. But you're better off taking less compensation and washing your hands of the situation than to let it linger like this. I mean, you got Lovie Smith, and I love Lovie Smith. I'm glad he got another opportunity. I wish it wasn't with the Texans, but I'm glad he got another opportunity. But he was like, well, you just seen Cincinnati go from worst to first. Why the Texans can't do the same? Whoa. Slow that train down, Lovey. He got the beard going. He got that nice white beard. Look, hey, he got the look going. I see you. You got another opportunity. You want to hype up your guys, but just hold off on that right there.
Yeah, slow your roll, man. It's like, hey, that situation is completely different than Cincinnati.
It's completely different.
You don't have Jamar.
You ain't got no Burrow.
Yeah,
you ain't got no Chase.
No Chase. No big play running back like Mixon. And
Trey Hendrick, you don't have a Trey Hendrickson. You don't have a standout DN anymore. JJ Watt's gone.
Yeah.
You ain't got standout DBs. You don't have a Mike Hilton or Woozier or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they got Eli Apple, but they ain't got the other guys.
I think the Texans right now, the only thing I can say that they got is a nice retractable roof stadium. That's about it. They got a nice stadium. They ain't got a team that worth diddly that you would want to pay $200 to go see on a Sunday. Not yet.
Right. I seen a guy I know grew up in church with. He surprised his sister for her birthday, and he surprised her with tickets to the Magic game. I was like, that's abuse.
Oh Lord, he done brought the Magic.
That's abuse. Man, that's abuse.
I wish I had my phone. I was watching a little bit of them earlier tonight. They were playing the Rockets.
I think they're at the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking like, man, I ain't seen so much joy coming from the Rockets bench like all season. And they up like 38. I think it was like 38-22 or something like that. And then they got the new guard in the trade. And so, like, man, everything clicking on all cylinders, man. I said, the only thing the Magic got, they got a nice, bright floor. They got a nice arena.
That's about it.
They get down by 26 by halftime, man. I don't get it, boy. I tell you, the people of Orlando must really love NBA basketball because, man, I don't understand why they just don't scream and just say, when are we going to get some players in this town that we heard of? We need veterans. You can't compete in the East with a bunch of first and second year players, man. You can't do it.
Can't compete, man. You're right. You can't compete. So, but we're gonna go back to basketball talk, but we're gonna get into some of this combine talk. Talk about Jacksonville and what they're looking for, what they're looking at the number one pick. The guys that you say you're going there to talk to some guys and Just talk about those guys and who you're going to look at and who may go number one or I think we got the 33rd pick and who may go first overall in the second round.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what Evan Neal has to say on Thursday. That's the Alabama. Left.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't really think they know at this point what direction that they're going to go at this late stage of the game. You looking at the draft. We're going into March, so you're looking at about 2 months away. You're looking at free agency. They got to make a decision starting March the 8th on if they're going to retain Cam Robinson. And I don't think they know exactly what they're looking for. They need to get a receiver, whether that is in free agency or the draft. I like the kid from Alabama. I like Jameson Williams.
I like Jameson.
Do you take a chance on a guy coming off knee surgery? I think he's a big time player. The one thing I say about the Jaguars in a situation like him, like Williams, do they have existing talent to wait on a guy like him? Personally, I think the Jags should trade down. I would like for them to get a receiver, maybe the top one they can get if they trade down, and maybe even get another playmaker with the 33rd, and then try for offensive line. But they got to decide on first business is where do you go with your offensive line? Do you move Walker Little to right tackle? Draft, like if you draft, I wouldn't have a problem with them drafting Evan Neal.
Mm-hmm.
But and I actually think it might be a better move. I feel personally, I think Cam Robinson I think he's ready to move on to a new chapter.
Yeah.
But obviously, if they franchise tag him, then
you're gonna roll him back out.
If he hits the open market in free agency, I think he literally would sign with a. I don't think he would wait. And who knows? The Jags probably would offer a nice 3-4 year deal. I still think he would sign somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing rumor. The Tweety Bird told me that Cam didn't fight the. Actually, I heard that he actually advised them that maybe it might be a time to see what you got and walk a little for those final 2 games. So basically, he probably checked out.
Yeah. I showed my value, and I'm not trying to get hurt. So go play the young guy. Mm-hmm.
At that point, he had already made his money.
Yeah.
And it was the Jaguars who, basically said, "Hey, we want you here. We don't want you to explore free agency." So the Jaguars made the choice to franchise tag him, which he obviously took. And then I don't think he liked the whole year. I mean, I think that was some of the reason why he would go to practice and turn his shirt around and have his name on the front. He would wear his name. He would wear his shirt back to the front, like the name would be on the front. Mm-hmm. And I think that was his statement of saying, "Hey, I'm Cam Robinson, and I don't want you folks not to forget who I am. So here's my name."
Yeah,
and he had a good season. One sack allowed. He had a good season. But I just think that they have to move in another direction with this offensive line. I just think that you got to have Trevor Lawrence have some open passing angles where the pressure is not coming inside from angles. And even though he didn't get sacked a whole lot, they saw too much pressure. And I think the guy that basically I thought they valued George Warhol's opinion, and maybe they valued it a little bit too much, because I feel that now with Warhol in Houston, Cam will go to Houston. that's my prediction, because that was his biggest
some
support.
of his best ball played under him. Yeah,
and I think that he sees that as an opportunity. And I just think they have to move on. I wouldn't have a problem with them. Some people say, picking an offensive tackle with the number 1 overall pick is not really a big splash pick. It's not
sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy. But I don't think Doug Peterson worried about sexy. I think he's worried about, hey, I got to get this guy protected, particularly his blind side.
Yeah,
I don't know about Walker Little might be a starter, but I would like to have Walker Little on the field, and I like to have somebody else on the field equal or better talent.
Yeah.
And they got to do something with Juwan. That's the in the room. They gotta do something with him. You can't have a guy who was inconsistent, too many penalties, didn't play well, and basically has regressed over the last 2 seasons. Well, he's regressed since his rookie season, and he's up for a contract going into this season here. It'd be his 4th year. And I just think they have to, I'm interested to hear what Evan Neal has to say, and I'm interested to see, will he be one of the first players that the Jaguars interview at the combine? They got this whole list of players, but I kind of value how important players are by who is on their interview list first.
Because if I got my top guy, like last year, Trevor Lawrence should have been number 1 on the list. So if they value Evan Neal, he should be number 1 on the list. If they think he's the guy, he can go potentially number 1. So yeah.
And I'm not a strong advocate. I don't think that Aiden Hutchinson and the Thibodeau kid from I just don't see them as
I don't see them as number 1 material, man.
Yeah, me either. I don't see them as trend-setting players that we're gonna be talking about, that they're the best at their position in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I think they're almost like
Thibodeau isn't Myles Garrett. I don't think he's Myles Garrett.
No, he's not a one of those generational talents.
Yeah,
they might could develop into something like that, but I don't. I would rather for them to draft Neal than go and add another edge rusher. If they do add an edge rusher, not them two, just get one in the 3rd round.
Give me or give me, go in free agency and get me a veteran. Go get Chandler Jones if you want to. Go get me a proven pass rusher and draft Evan Neal if that's what we want to do. Yeah.
And that's what I hope they do, man. I think the answer for the Jaguars, yes, the draft is important. I don't think they have enough guys on this roster with veteran experience that we don't have to project what they may do. We know what the existing talent that they've shown over the seasons. And that's the kind of players they have to put on this roster. It worked. If you look back on 2017 season, when you look at the Calais Campbells and the AJ Bouets and the people like that, the churches that they added to Gibson, those was the guys that really helped turn the tide.
Yes, it did.
Guys, And I just hope the Jaguars haven't gone to the philosophy that, man, we can't add guys who have personalities, or we don't know if they can click with the younger guys. And I don't think that Peterson is that type of coach. But you got to follow that script like the Rams, man. You got to go get guys. I don't care about the chemistry may work or this guy may have not done too much over the last season and a half, like Von Miller, but
do you win the Super Bowl without Odell Beckham? Probably not.
Yeah.
So all of that surrounding him, he's this, he's that. They didn't care. Bring the talent here.
Nesco, I don't
No,
think,
Nesco, that's why I put this up here. Ness, he's not Bosa. He's not the Bosa's man.
He ain't Bosa. I watched that game against Georgia.
I watched him. He's not the Bosa's. He's definitely not Joey. He's definitely not Joey Bosa. He may turn into Nick Bosa, but I don't think so. But he's definitely not Joey Bosa.
Yeah, you got to turn it up another notch, man. You got to, I don't see a dominance guy. I don't see a dominant
guy.
Edge rusher that can just.
He don't look like TJ or JJ.
That he's so dominant. We got to put a chip on him, or we got to put we got to double team him every time we step back. I just don't see that in this guy. He's a physical specimen and all that. He got the the measurements, but I don't know.
I wouldn't take him number one.
No, we.
Oh, he talking about either way. He's better than he talking about Caleb Chason. I'm not going to disparage Caleb Chason. But that is not a good comparison.
Well, Chason, in my opinion, is the new David Bryan.
He's the new David. Oh my goodness.
Lord have mercy, man. I don't know, man. Sometimes I look at Chason and I'm like, what is he doing? He's turning around, he's spinning around. He look like he on the basketball court. Some days games he look like he got skates on. I don't know. Mike Caldwell, bless you, man. I hope you can bring it out of him.
Yeah. Yeah,
he even mentioned them that we're gonna put guys in the positions that best suits their talents, and I'm looking to see where that gonna brings and put him on the field. Where would he line up to bring his best talents out? I like to see
where would he line up?
So they must gonna have to get him open lanes where he's not blocked to get an open angle on quarterbacks and be a sack guy, but. I don't see it, man.
I'd rather invest in a Jameson Williams, one of those receivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll do. He said Hutchinson is going to prove y'all wrong. Remember, I said it. He could. He could, Ness, but I wouldn't take him number one, Ness. He's a first round talent. No doubt about that. But number one, think about number one overall, Ness. He's not number one overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But I would say Evan Neal definitely. I don't see anybody else that I would take one other than Evan Neal, and I'm not taking a receiver number one overall. So I think the best option is to trade down.
Yeah,
you can trade down, get a receiver. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's the best option is to trade down. You're adding more pieces. You get some more draft picks, and let's be real. Defensive linemen, offensive linemen, they are the strength of this draft. I think they got a strong receiver class, but there's no, there's no top-notch quarterback here. There's no generational talent in this class of quarterbacks. I like the kid at Ole Miss, but he's not. Mm-hmm. He's not number one overall pick talent wise. So
no.
I think if you do it, then this would be the draft.
Yeah, that's the tackle from Bama. That's you're talking about Evan Neal.
Yeah, this would be the draft to you got the prize in 221, and this might be the one where we don't see it, and we want to move down and get maybe two receivers or linemen or something late first round pick. Use the 33rd to get a receiver and get. I will say this though, Brandon. I really think they got 12 picks. I would not have an issue with this team taking half or 7 offensive players in this draft.
7 offensive players? Yeah.
There is a strong safety class in this draft. And the receivers class is strong, but
receiver class is strong.
Yeah. Overall, it's not a great draft class as far as
especially with the quarterbacks being down. If the
yeah.
quarterbacks were better, it'll make it a better draft class. But yeah, I think it's certain position groups that are plentiful. Wide receiver is one of them, and safety. Say Josh Stewart says starting five on the O line: Neal, Norwell, Linder, Barch, and Little, or Neal, free agent guard, Linder, Taylor, and Little, or other.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure about Linder.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about him either. I mean, he's never played 16 games. I don't think he's ever played 16 games.
16 games. They might ask him for rework his contract. He could save them money if they released him in the cap. They might be looking at a Tyler Shatley who's a free agent, and they might say that, hey, Tyler Shatley is more dependable for us, and we'll use the money to sign him and make him our starting center. Because I don't think he's missed it. I don't think he's missed any time over the last 3-4 seasons with injuries.
Yeah, he did.
And
so
I don't know where Juwan Taylor gonna be at.
You say T Smalls say I feel like it's what up T Smalls? I feel like it's a QB out there in this draft that's a diamond in the rough. Yeah, you're gonna find a guy is gonna emerge from it. It's just not strong on its face. You know, once the guys get to the right situation, he's able to flourish. Who knows what comes out of this class? But right now, there's no guy right now that they can say is a definitive, surefire franchise guy.
Yeah, these guys are all backups. I like the kid from Liberty. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He looks
replace Taylor. Yeah, replace Taylor.
And the Pickett from Pittsburgh is decent. But what do you say about Juwan?
Yeah, you talking about remove? You say replace him.
You got
replace him.
You can't have him on that, not as a starter. And,
he led the league in penalties, right, as an offensive lineman?
Yep, led the league in penalties, and I think he gave up 8 sacks. So that's going forward. And I think he was I just felt that they were loyal to him because he's never missed a snap since he's been here as a rookie. He's played every snap, offensive snap, in the entire time he's been with the Jaguars. And I think they must thought that was important. But when it comes to wins and losses, and it comes to protecting your quarterback, and it comes to when do you reach the point where if a guy get a holding penalty on second down, then come back on the next drive on first down and make the same holding penalty? You gotta. You gotta make some changes, man. You can't keep having this guy get started snaps and he can't stop from making mistakes.
He killed drives. Drives.
Yeah, he had holding calls on 3rd and 4 and
killed drives, man.
He 8 yards up the middle for a first down and all for
call back.
Yeah,
touchdowns. I think a few touchdowns were called back because of his holding. Let's see. Malik Willis is raw but big upside. Yeah, he is raw. He does have upside. It's going to depend on where he lands. So if Malik Willis lands, so let's say he lands in, Denver. He lands in Denver. Where else? Say he lands in Indianapolis, somewhere where it's kind of established already. Like if let's put it this way, if the Jaguars had interest currently right now, we didn't have Trevor, I wouldn't bring him here. I don't think he's going to flourish here because they're really trying to get things off the ground. But somewhere established, solid coaching, the coaches know, like even Pittsburgh, Malik could end up in Pittsburgh. They go get a journeyman guy, maybe roll out Mason Rudolph to start the season. He's going to lose the job eventually because Mason Rudolph is not the guy. But Malik Willis could flourish somewhere there. But if he ends up somewhere like Houston or something like that, I don't know, man.
Yeah, we have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, we're going to have to say draft heavy on offense. We just talked about that, T. Smalls. Draft heavy on offense and free agency, and on the back end for defense and offense. Yeah, I wanted to defense. I want to go veterans and free agency. Whatever holes you have on defense, fill it with veterans in free agency,
Yeah.
and then you could draft the offensive talent and let it grow with Trevor.
Yeah. I like that plan.
Yeah.
And that might be the plan that Doug Peterson had too. Because go out and get some veterans, man. I want to see the Jags really, seriously, go out, even if you can't get them, just be one of the most aggressive teams in free agency.
Yes.
Just be aggressive. I mean, even if you don't, get your name out there. I always thought that was the biggest problem last year. You needed a tight end, and I never heard that the guys were saying, that man, he was considering offers from the Jags and the Patriots. I mean, it's like there was no mention of the Jags.
Yeah, no mention. No mention of the Jags.
You're gonna have to overspend. There's no question on that. You're gonna have to overspend to get.
Have to. Mm-hmm.
4 wins in 2 seasons. You're not gonna draw. It's not a drawing card to come here to play. So you got to draw that card with money.
You see, what about Deshaun Watson to the Steelers? Man, that could be a reality, man.
Could be a possibility.
And guess who's in Pittsburgh? And one of the reasons why I say that possibly could happen. Brian Flores is now in Pittsburgh, and Brian Flores wanted to team up with Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
So Deshaun could want to come there because Flores is there.
And let me say this, man. I commend the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm almost in our lifetime, the Pittsburgh Steelers to me is almost like the Brooklyn Dodgers. I think you really have to appreciate a franchise. And I know about the Rooney Rule and all that.
Yeah.
But let's set the course straight. Flores wouldn't have never got hired by any team this season if the Steelers hadn't came out and hired him. Point blank. No other
doubt
team
about it.
While a lawsuit in place would go out and sign this man on their staff as a defensive assistant. Now, if that's Mike Tomlin, I commend him. I just commend their organization, man, because you have to appreciate a franchise like Pittsburgh, even with the Rooney situation, even with the Rooney Rule, that they're advocates of diversity.
Yeah.
And I tweeted it. I remember when we were in the Senior Bowl. I'm looking out there on the field, and I saw Mike Tomlin was the only head coach on the field. He had no jacket on. He had like Timberland boots on.
In pouring rain.
In the pouring rain, and he was looking at every throw that those quarterbacks was making. He was like 2 inches apart. He wasn't like all that, when you go to these things, it's like it's like a social gathering more than it is, as far as getting work done. It's more of a, hey,
talking. Hey, I ain't seen you in a long time and all that. Yeah.
Long time. And it's just like a reunion type thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This guy, he had his Steelers people around him, but he wasn't short talking, and he was there. I said, man, I respect the guy. A guy never had a losing season since he's been a head coach in this league. Never had a losing season.
Yeah.
And every time when you see Pittsburgh like that, they might be, just above 500 or right under 500, and then you hear all these whispers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like the buzzards are waiting. And I just commend. I commend the guy for being just into what he does, winning record every year. Nobody can say nothing negative, and the amount of work he puts in his craft. And I commend the Steelers for hiring Brian, because no other team, no other franchise, including the one in Jacksonville, who has a minority owner would take that chance and hire him. So I commend the Steelers.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do. I think you are right about that. I don't think anybody. I was shocked when they
Mhm.
hired him, but the Steelers have always been on the cutting edge and the forefront. That's just what they've done.
Okay.
It's the same with when Al Davis was alive. You know, rest in peace to Al Davis. Al Davis was on the cutting edge as well. You know, I think he had one of the first minority head coach hires, didn't he?
Mhm.
What was the coach? I forgot. He was a Hispanic coach, and he won a Super Bowl for Al Davis. I can't
Oh,
remember his name.
Flores.
It was Flores. It was Tom Flores, right?
On Flores. Yep. Yep.
Tom Flores. Yeah. Yeah. So they've always been on the cutting edge. So for them to pick up Brian Flores, I was like, I think that'll help. I don't know what the case is going to entail because he's still the Dolphins is the I would say the focus of his ire
Yeah.
because
Well, he was
what
fired
the
unjustly.
yeah. What the Giants and the Broncos did and all of that. Hey, he just pointed it out. He said, "Hey, they did this, but my focus is on Stephen Ross and
Yeah.
how he pretty much tried to sell me up the river because I didn't want to play ball." You know,
Well, they tarnished his image. I mean,
they did,
first thing came out of Miami, and whoever leaked it, who knows? But they said he had a bad relationship with Tua. I mean,
which is
that
they
was
say is false.
that was some of the groundwork that they fired him that he didn't get along with the quarterback or the people in the front office. And then that kind of stuff when you throw things out there like that, personality challenges and those kind of things, it's hard to get a job. It's hard, Not only did they fire him, but they
Yeah,
try to tarnish him in a way where he'll be unemployed. Be unemployed.
yeah,
And I think the Dolphins owner is a bad owner. To be honest, I can just some of
yeah.
his rebuttal and responses, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I also heard that Flores lawyers have a document of the stipulations that if he would have agreed to, then he would have got extra money for not, you know, speaking negative about the organization. Well, the Miami owners say that never was extended, and Flores got the document that says that we'll pay you such and such as long as you don't negatively make any comments about the Dolphins.
Yeah, the NDA thing was true. They tried to say that's not true. We didn't try to get him to sign the NDA. You got
Yeah,
the documents,
they
and
got the
then
document. So that tell you that if they lied about that, what else they done lied about? To be
yeah,
honest.
like the meeting with the prominent quarterback who's rumored to be Tom Brady on the yacht when they
Yeah.
weren't supposed to. It was tampering, and he told them no, he wouldn't do it. Offering him $100,000 to lose games, which they say it is a witness who witnessed him doing this and asking, offering it to Brian Flores. So I'm not believing anything coming out of there right now, man.
And we have a short memory in the NFL when we follow these teams because if you go back, let's say 2019, when did Tua come out in 20?
2020, yeah.
He came out in 20. So I can remember in the 2019 season that everybody in the country knew that the Dolphins was tanking so they can get Tua.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's supposedly, I if I don't know if Flores wanted Herbert and not Tua,
mm-hmm.
but it was I don't know if it was Flores himself, but it
Yeah.
was split in the building on who they wanted.
Yeah.
Some wanted Herbert, some wanted Tua, and it caused a little bit of friction because they took Tua.
Well, I think that's exactly what happened. I think he wanted Herbert.
Yeah. See, Nesco say, what is this talk about Russell Wilson going to Tampa? I heard a little bit about that. It's crazy that he's getting ready he wants to leave Seattle. It's crazy that they can't make that work. Franchise quarterbacks, you just don't give them up. I mean, I understand the Deshaun Watson thing, that's soured and that's whatever, but franchise quarterbacks this doesn't happen. He's my age. He's still young, man. He could play another decade.
But you know what? Russell Wilson sees the writing on the wall.
He does. Aaron said Gabbert is the starter. That's hilarious when they say Gabbert could be the starter. I laughed so hard when I heard Galbert could replace Brady in Tampa.
Well, if they can't get anybody, then he's like the last resort starter, you know.
Right. But Russell, you say he sees the writing on the wall.
I think Seattle in that division. You know, I don't know
George?
how good the Rams going to be, but the Rams is this much ahead of Seattle. San Francisco is this much ahead of Seattle. Arizona is this much ahead of Seattle, even though they're in a situation at quarterback. And it's just like you got three teams with better talent, younger talent, and this Seattle team is just, I mean, they've been asleep at the wheel the last few seasons. And I just think that he, you know, I mean, I just think he's probably getting pressure from his wife. I mean, she may not want to see Seattle no more. She might want him in New York or LA or somewhere.
Yeah, when I saw New York on his list of destinations, I said, this is Sierra's doing.
Yeah, that's Sierra's destination spot.
New York has a worse record than the Jaguars over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, they do.
Why does he want to go to New York?
So Sierra.
Let's see George say, George, he came out and refuted that report that the Dolphins, you listening to the Dolphins report that they said he had a problem with Tua. He himself said he didn't have an issue with Tua. He said that they did that to slander him. He said, you can ask Tua yourself. There was not an issue. We respected each other. He said, I am a tough coach, but I want to hold people responsible, just like Tua will hold me responsible. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. And Tua needed that. I mean, come on, you gonna tell me that? You gonna tell me Flores is a tougher coach than Nick Saban? I mean, let's go back to Alabama when Saban used to chew out Tua, and Tua be laughing. You know, they did a story on CBS one time. They said, we can't change coach, but I don't let it get to me. So I mean, Tua's a kid that he's not. If there is friction, it didn't come from Tua.
Right. And George said he know people personally. Well, you know people personally. What did they say the issue was? Because the issue as far as him having, I guess, not liking each other or having a volatile relationship, they say it's false. He said as Tua that part is false. Now, him having an issue that he wanted Herbert and not Tua is probably a real thing if that's the case. If he wanted Herbert, of course, okay, he didn't want Tua. But what are they saying is the issue and problems that he had with Tua?
Well, Tua still started.
That's college. He said, I like to see Trask get a shot in Tampa, just not sure if he's ready. I don't know if Trask is ready. I don't think Trask is ready. Hey, George, he talking about your boy. George loved Trask. He loved that cinder block footed quarterback. Trask can't move at all.
I don't think it's time for Trask to be the starting quarterback or Blaine Gabbert.
I got you, George.
I just think that holding the notebook on the sideline could do both those two guys wonders.
Yeah.
Or Tampa going back to the pack. They'd be back to Tampa to 216 then, because they're not going to win with either one of those guys right now.
Yeah, Gabbert, Trask, you got to go get a guy. I mean, if you want to continue your success and make the playoffs next year, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, because I've seen them having interest in Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, whoever, you got to go get an established guy if you want to make the playoffs. Yeah. Gabbert, Trask, Malik Willis, any rookies coming out? No, I don't think that's the answer. Shoot, hey, I'm sure Pittsburgh giving away Mason Rudolph. Go get Mason Rudolph.
Well, you might as well.
George say Tom couldn't move. Tom couldn't move laterally. Like Tom couldn't move. He couldn't run, but Tom could move in the pocket. That's the thing. Tom ran a 5 flat 40 or something like that. But in the pocket, he's very nimble. I've never seen Trask be that nimble and avoid the rush in the pocket. Because it's one thing to be able to run downfield, but if I can move and shake and have my footwork on point, then I can avoid sacks. I don't think Trask can do that.
Yeah, I just think he's a project. I mean,
Yeah, he's a project at this point.
He's got a whole lot to improve on before we talking about starting quarterback. You know, I think you know, I think you got to give him time. You know, he probably need a good veteran quarterback and learn some more of the trade.
Yeah,
and maybe Trask could be that starter 3 years from now, but I don't see that. Not with a team with that type of talent who feel that they still have enough talent to contend for a Super Bowl, and then you bring in a second-year player like Trask and expect him to be Tom Brady. That's not gonna fly. That'll destroy that kid confidence. They'd do better going with Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, they would. You say, did you guys see where the Jags got the permit for Sports Performance Center? Thanks, Urban. Oh, they got the permit for the Sports Performance Center. Yeah, thanks, Urban Meyer. That's the one thing I think he put in place, didn't he? When he came in, he wanted that done.
And they actually have cleared some land. They've taken up some concrete blocks. I drove by there the other day. And they're moving forward with those plans on the Sports Performance Center. But that's the two things that I guess you can give him credit, was the Sports Performance Center and how they remade the all the rehab, the pools and the rehab and all that, what they got going on inside the stadium. Yeah. Other than that, that's his only. That was his only significant contribution to the Jags.
Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Yeah, I think we could put in a pin in the Jags talk right there. Yeah. So we're gonna end it with a little bit of NBA, and let's see what I got. Oh yeah, we got it. Let's go ahead and talk about them now. Then we'll get into the Cleveland and them supposedly saying that, because LeBron came out and he said that potential return to Cleveland is not out of the cards. You know, he could, decide to return to Cleveland if circumstances are right, of course. But now I've seen a report where that Cleveland isn't interested in the third go round because of the disaster in LA.
Well, you know who's speaking on that. That's the only.
That's Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, that's who that is. And now they got a decent team now with young players.
And that's why they're saying that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, man. Cleveland is a great sports town, but they got a bad owner that owns that Cavs team. You know,
he's up there with Dolan. Awful.
Yeah, I think he's just like his rocket booster mortgage company.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just that you can't trust anything come out of his mouth. He holds grudges. He's still mad, even though LeBron won him a championship. He still hold a grudge that LeBron left the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. These leagues really gotta look more careful. And it's just a John Reid statement. I just think the leagues, not one league, not two leagues, not three. I think these leagues, man, really need to start looking closer at the people who own these franchises.
Yes, they do.
Because I think it's been a buried problem, because a lot of things go behind the scenes and it don't come back to the owner. But these owners, man, some of the messages that come out of these franchises that come directly from the owner is troubling. I mean, really, and then they hide behind the franchise. Oh, it didn't come from me, but it came from somebody from the franchise, and you the guy who makes all the decisions. So you has final say so that's why he's not going to be there.
Yeah. And I don't mean to cut you off, but one of the things too that they need to look at is when you have an owner who owns a flagship franchise and he's running it into the ground.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do something about that. The Knicks should not be what they are currently right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a bad.
You could have had LeBron, you could have had KD. A lot of those guys declined to go there because of how they were treated. They tried to lowball Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
He's coming off an injury, so they didn't want to pay him the max. They wanted to pay him less. And I'm like, are you serious right now? You could have had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, because Kevin Durant went where Kyrie wanted to go.
And then the guy's making. Just imagine what he's making on that team where they don't aggressively go out and get free agents.
Right.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, we may not never see another Knicks good. I mean, the Knicks, when you really look at it, the Knicks hadn't had a real good team since the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a while, and now
it's been a minute.
Some people thought, well, they went to the playoffs last year, and now, well, they're in last place or somewhere near the bottom of the standings, and they're just like Thibodeau has run that team into the ground. I mean, Thibodeau is a guy that every day they practice, he's practicing in them for 3 hours.
Yeah,
and he just eventually he wears you out. He everywhere he's been, it's been the same thing.
And so Kemba is they're gonna sit him the rest of the season. Is it that bad? Kemba can still play.
So they're saying what? That he just can't make shots no more?
Well, they basically made an agreement that he no longer is gonna be a part of the team. He's gonna miss the rest of the season. They're not playing him. I would say you buy him out, because there's already speculation that once they buy him out, he's already got a list of teams ready. The Lakers is on that list of teams interested in him already, but they got to buy him out.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to give up. Dolan don't want to give money for free.
No, he don't. You see, Joshua said, are the Nets going to be dangerous now that Kyrie apparently is going to be able to play at home, going to play home games? Yeah, they are. I mean, I see Ben Simmons working with Kyle Korver in practice on his shooting. So maybe Kyle Korver, who's an excellent shooter, can help Ben Simmons get his shooting right. He said, LeBron, GOAT for hire. Not. Hey, man, don't be a hater now. Don't be a LeBron hater.
Yeah. Well, LeBron knows that it ain't working in LA.
Oh, he got an issue with Pelinka, man. That's why we're talking about the Lakers turmoil. He got an issue with Pelinka. And Magic had an issue with Pelinka. That's why Magic is no longer there.
Yeah, I know they were doing some undercutting a couple of years ago where Pelinka was undercutting Magic. I don't know, man. Jenny Buss got to come take control of the franchise, man, or something, because I do not like this Laker team. You got to make some tough decisions. You know, the thing that I don't like about the Lakers wait too late to react to things. You know, you don't have to go 50 games into the season and keep believing that they're going to turn it around with less than 20, what they had, 22, 21 games to go before the season ends.
Yeah.
And they either no matter what, even if they get in, they're still going to have to be in the play-in. But I just don't think you wait that long to make change, you know. If Russell Westbrook doesn't fit, what makes you, if he didn't fit in October, what makes you think he's going to fit in April?
Right.
Those kind of things. And let's talk about AD. Man, AD is just not reliable enough. He's too injury prone. He's just, he don't
I saw a shocking stat yesterday. Russell Westbrook is shooting a higher percentage than Steph Curry this season.
Is it?
I could not believe that. I say ain't no way. But Steph went through a bad slump.
Yeah. Well, I put my money on Steph, but
I put my money on Steph all day long to get it right.
But sometimes you can't always look at percentage either, man, because if he's only taking 9 shots,
yeah.
When you get 4 of them, you're shooting at a good clip. But I just don't think he fits with what they're trying to do, man. He's not gonna compromise. He's not gonna. He's not going to be a facilitator and don't take shots. So I just, him and Dwight. Man, I literally saw them before the All-Star break, and and I saw the white was on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he had a pillow on his lap or something. Then the next time the camera showed back, it was still midway third quarter. Then the next time the camera showed the bench, he was nowhere to be seen, and he wasn't on the court.
Right.
So I don't know what's
Right.
going on with that, man.
Yeah. 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 I don't know what's going on with that either. But let's see.
So we're
What
gonna
we
talk
talking
about
about?
our boy from New Orleans.
Yeah, so let's get into that's next. So let's get into Mr. Zion Williamson. Let's see. Reddit comment seem accurate about Zion. Thank you for this comment, Josh. We're going into Zion. I really like Zion, but he's nowhere to be found. JJ Reddick hit the nail on the head. He described what I saw from afar because he was there. He said Zion is a detached teammate. He's not invested, and of course, he has issue with management, whether it's the general manager, the owner, or whatever. The CJ McCollum incident where CJ got traded there February 8th, and he didn't hear from Zion until what, February 20th or the 21st, and he didn't call him or to reach out until he was criticized about it. The lack of professionalism from Zion Williamson is absolutely criminal because all he's doing is tanking his own value. You don't have any values as far as basketball right now because you haven't played. You haven't put any tape out. And now the other things, the off the field things, off the court stuff, you're just adding fuel to the fire for your doubters, John Morant better, and all of that. Dude, Zion Williamson has to play basketball.
Well, this is my comment. New Orleans is not a place for everybody. It's not a place. It's not New York. It's not Boston. It's not in a major market. It's a football city. I don't think he likes David Griffin. I think that's the biggest problem. It's not so much Zion, is that his daddy do not. I mean, whatever been promised and whatever been said, I don't think Griffin have lived up to some things that maybe he promised on building the roster, hiring the coach. And I just think he's checked out. And I agree with some others said. I think that like Stephen A. and some others said that he may never play another game in New Orleans for the Pelicans.
Yeah, I think it's over.
Yep, and I agree. I don't think I think whatever done happened or transpired, the bridge has been burned, you know. And New Orleans the Pelicans specifically, they got to come up with a way, even if they have to consult the league. They got to come up with a way of knowing how, in a small market, to sustain their talent. And they have done a poor job at it. Every superstar, whether it's the number one pick or the Baron, and just look at the players who's been there: Baron Davis, Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, David West. Mm-hmm. They lost all of them. They lost every one of those players.
Yep.
And when you lose talent, you just can't. I feel that the Pelicans looked at it like this. Okay, even though we lost these superstars, we can always try to replace them with something, with the next talent. Then they get the next talent, and then they lose that talent. And it's almost to the point, man. And I hate to say this because I was there, but NBA basketball may not be. It may not be. It may not be where it's in the right city.
Yeah.
When you look at all the issues that they've had since that team moved from Charlotte, and if you look at the games, not the well, I guess you can even look at the ones that's on national television. If you look at the stands in the lower bowl, I probably would say that New Orleans and a couple of others have the most empty seats in the lower bowl than any other arena in the NBA.
Including Orlando?
Well, Orlando looked fooled from what I see because
You
Orlando
see?
got a lot of they're not coming to the games to watch basketball. They done made the trip. They done brought the kids to Disney
Mm-hmm.
during the day, and now Pop's trying to enjoy a night out. Have
Mm-hmm.
some adult fun with some
Right.
beverages and watching some MMA. So they got like whether that team is bad or not, they got
Yeah.
always an influx of somebody from somewhere in Orlando that can come to their games.
Yeah.
New Orleans don't have that, you know. And I just, when did you come to the point where Anthony Davis axed out, wanted to trade? Chris Paul axed out, wanted to get traded. David West,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't ask for a trade, he just didn't re-sign with him. And it just over and over, they got the wrong general managers. You can't run a NBA franchise with football-minded owners and football-minded people, and it just hadn't worked. To be
Yeah.
honest,
It hasn't.
maybe it'll work if they go to Seattle. And I hate to say that, but it's the same recycle over and over. Here go another disgruntled superstar, Zion Williamson, the number one overall pick, the savior, and he
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be there. He don't
Yep.
even want to be around him. And, and
Hey.
and whatever like you say, whatever JJ said, it's the truth. He's detached, but he's detached because he don't want to say trade me. He don't want to
Yeah.
be like the second guy behind him. Because what he's gonna be if he says I want to be traded, you say, man, this guy he want to be like Anthony Davis. He ain't
Mm-hmm.
his own man. So
Right.
he's forcing their hand. He don't want to be there. I mean, who is the franchise player that doesn't welcome
Mm-hmm.
who don't welcome their Robin? Huh?
Yes. Who don't? See, it's CJ McCollum. This is not a just a everyday player, mid-level player. CJ McCollum is a great player. And you don't reach out to him?
Yeah.
That's an issue. Nesco's so stupid. Nesco, I heard Zion weight was off because he had cheeseburgers in his pocket. He said he going to be the new Shaq. Hey, Josh Stewart say he gonna be more like Zach Randolph. He'd be lucky if he's Zach Randolph at this point. Zach Randolph was a very solid player,
He
very good
won't be
player.
Zach Randolph.
Zach Randolph was a different beast. I don't know if he has that mentality that Zach Randolph has. Zach Randolph was a dog.
Man,
I don't think he's
let me share a story about Zach Randolph.
Oh man, here we go.
Zach Randolph, man, you be in the locker room, and this joker would if he had 15 reporters in front of his locker, he had like the $2.99 bottle of cologne that I think he had Old Spice, and he was spraying like everywhere. And nobody said nothing. Trust me.
Yeah. Wow. That's funny. That's funny.
The guy made millions, but he didn't put his money in his cologne, man. That stuff would be like what your daddy that used to have, man. Say,
Yeah.
What is that? Jovan or Old Spice?
Right. Oh, Josh Stewart. I don't think he's gonna be that bad.
Nah,
He said Anthony Bennett. He's not gonna be Anthony Bennett now. Nah, Josh.
He's just trying to trade himself so he can go to a major market.
That's all. That's all. He's not gonna be Anthony Bennett now.
Once he get traded, he'll be back being Zion. He'll be.
Yeah, he's gonna drop weight. He's gonna take the fat suit off, and he's gonna be jumping and skying and one arm tomahawks over defenders. Watch, he coming back.
That's amazing though. The guy that is trying to eat himself into a trade.
Yes. Hey, they say he's following the James Harden layout. Is what he's doing. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about James Harden. Is he finally playing? I mean, wait a minute now. We can't have.
He's supposed to debut tonight, I think.
So what about our other guy? When is he making his debut with the Nets?
Oh, Simmons? I don't know. I don't know if when he's going to be playing.
Is he still sitting out?
I saw him at practice, so he must be getting ready to play. But James is supposed to play either I think it's today. I think James is supposed to start playing today. Let's see. Zion said he's going back to his college weight and then going to run through the league. Well,
what
we'll
team
see.
gonna be? Who's gonna play for?
Won't be with New Orleans.
Hell, I'd love to see him when you get trade him to Minnesota. I like to see him on the Minnesota team. You know, if they want to send him to Siberia, you know, it's like when a team get mad at you, they try to find the worst spot to send you. And like Minneapolis is that worst spot. Send them to Minneapolis. I like to see that team.
Yeah, that's like when they send players to the Raiders back in the day. Where careers went to die.
Yeah, send them to the Timberwolves, man. That'd be a good move. That'd be a good young team, man. Send him to Portland. He's up there in the Northeast somewhere. Let him play with the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, let him play. So this is one of the things I wanted to ask you. So did you hear about LeBron saying that his goal is to play a season with Bronny? Yeah. So people are saying that, you know, it's LeBron is maybe being overbearing or too much of a parent. Let him have his own path, let him have his own moment and whatnot, and who wants to play with their dad and stuff. But other people looked on the other side of it like this is LeBron securing something for his son. So he's basically telling you, because he said that whoever gets Bronny, that most likely he's coming. So you take Bronny, I'm coming to you, and you get me. And so I don't have a problem with that, man. I don't have an issue with it.
I tell you, I think we got it all wrong.
You think we got it all wrong?
Yeah. I don't think LeBron making that decision. I think LeBron's wife.
His wife making that decision.
Is telling him that we want our son in position to get to the NBA, and we want you to make sure that it happens.
And that's his way of doing it.
So let's put it in the ear that you want to play on a team with him so you can help his path get there. She's got a lot of power, man.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a lot of power, which is why he went back to Cleveland.
Yeah. So it was her. Okay. I didn't know she influenced that much. You said,
hey, when you got little kids, at the time they had little kids, and her family was in that Cleveland area.
Yeah.
They didn't have family in Miami.
Yeah.
The first move was, this is for you, LeBron. You know, this is what you want to do, try to win that championship. But now you got the championship. So you got to make a decision based on the family. And the family, we're more comfortable in Cleveland.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I think Bronny, from what I've seen, dude, he can play. Kid can play ball. I don't know how good he's going to be. He's got immense pressure on him already, being LeBron's son. People acting stupid. I've seen the videos of people at his games. I mean, he's a kid and he's LeBron's son. They were throwing trash at him. They were cursing at him, saying all type of stuff, craziness. So, I mean, the kid, he's going to be battle tested stepping onto an NBA court, just being LeBron's son.
I just want him to be a kid, man. That's
what I want.
Just be like that. Let's just see how things pan out. Let's don't already set the path before, you know, so much can happen. And just allow the kid to be, you know, let him. If he's good, then he deserves to be in the league. But let's don't make statements that he's already NBA ready which he's not. And just let nature take its course, man. Let the kid develop, go through. You know, I mean, what grade is he in?
I think he's a junior, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a junior in high school.
Junior. I think he's a junior in high school. Right. I think this current basketball season, I think he's 17. So yeah, 17. I think he's a junior.
But you know, it's tough being a parent, man. LeBron, you know, what parent don't want the best for his kids? And then you have LeBron and the platform that he has. And then, like you say, every time Bronny plays, everybody's watching. The YouTube channel is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And just can you imagine if this kid basketball career doesn't extend after high school? I mean, I know that's not going to happen, but just imagine if he don't turn out to be a great player. Michael Jordan's children wasn't great basketball players. It ain't always in the gene that your offspring is going to be great in something that you were great in.
Yes.
So, I can't say nothing negative about LeBron. He's being a father. He's making. He's already putting it out there. And I also think that I don't know if LeBron gonna be a Laker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more days go on, the more it looks like that marriage is coming to an end.
Yeah, he doesn't like losing, man. Just imagine this team don't make the playoffs. They got big money contracts. The talent don't mesh. You got AD who can't stay off the injured list. And, they won the championship in the bubble. They didn't win on somebody's home. They didn't go out to travel on the road to win that title. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough, man, when you look at the teams ahead of them. Phoenix not going anywhere. Golden State not going anywhere. Memphis not going anywhere.
Speaking of Phoenix, he said Chris Paul injury a concern. Son's going to be okay. He say 6 to 8 weeks. What is it? Is it a thumb injury? I think he has. Long as he comes back for the playoffs, I think he'll be fine. What kind of shape he's going to be in, don't know, because coming back from that injury in the playoffs last year, he didn't look like the same Chris Paul. So it is a concern.
Yeah. I think if he can get back by the playoffs, they'll be okay. But, man, when you lose your guy like that, think about losing him even, this final stretch of the regular season is how much he means so much to their offense. I mean, he got the ball in his hand 90% of the time. He's the facilitator, and everything runs through him. And not to have that guy, a lot of guys, a lot of people think, okay, he comes back injury and he's ready, it's the playoffs. But, man, it takes time to get back into the flow. It takes time for players to get back used to him or he getting used to them. And that's a long time to be out, But I say right now, I have to say that Phoenix is the best team in the league right now. Whether they stay that way, we don't know. But
injuries.
They had the best run for the first half of the season. And you looking at now, they probably, I would think they would be the number 1 seed. So
I seen where people they made an argument right now. So right now in the West, it's not as dismal for the Lakers as it looks because they're in such disarray. But I think it was Bill Simmons' podcast. I saw a clip of with David Jacoby, and I forgot the other guy that was on it. But he was saying that outside of, let's say, so Chris Paul's injury, you don't know how that's going to affect Phoenix. Draymond has a back issue right now for Golden State. You don't know how that's going to, pan out. Backs, one thing about a back, ain't nothing you could do to strengthen it and all of that and get it better. A hurt back is a hurt back, and it can only get worse. But outside of those two teams, there's nobody in the West that you can definitively say at the moment that, yes, they will beat the Lakers in the 7-game series other than those two. And when he said that, I was like, man, that makes sense. Now they got to get to the playoffs, of course. But once they get in, who knows? Especially with injuries.
Yeah. But, are you considering that they're probably going to have to be in the play-in?
That's the thing. Yeah.
And you're going to take all that extra time and man, it's an old roster.
Yes, it is.
I think that it hurt them last year.
Being in that playing game hurt them last year. Yeah, it did.
Yep. And I just think, man, I don't see them being above. If they make the playoffs, they're not going to be above 7. So they're going to have to be in the play-in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows? If you get AD back and you make it mesh, you get Westbrook in a rhythm. I mean, they got a shot, but I don't think they're on the same level.
Yeah.
With top half of that Western Conference. I just don't think they're in that same. They're not in the same level right now with Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State. You know.
Yeah.
And then you talking about going through the play-in, and then you would have to play. If my numbers are right, they would have to play either Phoenix or Golden State.
Yeah. Yeah, they win the playoff. Yeah, they win the play-in game. Yeah, you got to face one or two. Mm-hmm.
That ain't
a healthy, especially if they're healthy. Now, if it's Golden State, even without Draymond, I would lean towards them beating the Lakers, even without him. But Draymond is a integral piece. I can't downplay his talent. He's a defensive enforcer. Even though Chuck be killing him, talking about Draymond had another triple single. That always be funny to me, man.
Triple single.
Yeah. Where he have single digits in all the categories, so they call him a triple single. That's what Chuck say he be having. He's talking about, y'all tell me, we know guys who want to play, who really want it. You don't lie to me. I know the guys who really want to play, the guys who really want it. he be killing Draymond.
Man, I tell you what, it was funny. I watched it all. I ain't watch all of it, but I watched it where they had Charles and them, talking during the game.
Yeah.
So Shaq, they not even 3 minutes into the game, and here goes Shaq say, "I bought everybody some chicken tenders." Shaq say, "Why y'all not, Charles? Why you not eating?" He say, "Fool, we on television. You don't supposed to eat while we on television. We gotta wait till the commercial." And then Shaq say, "Man, I'm gonna eat."
Yeah. Hey, and he clowned. Hey, I don't know what part of the broadcast it was, but he would clown Chuck by not having a ring. He's never gonna let that go.
Nah, man, he brought it. He had the ring on.
He had the ring on, yeah.
Then I went to go look for some eyeglasses, and Lord knows I looked up and said, they got Shaq eyeglasses. I said, Lord, what is this guy not into?
He's into everything.
The man got his own lens. He got his own eyeglass frames.
Eyeglass frames, his own shoe line.
Yeah.
The General, he do commercials with the General. He's the face of Papa John's right now. He got his hands
he ain't on State Farm. He ain't never been on State Farm. Maybe that'd be the next one. I mean, like Chris Paul got the coach, the son.
hey, put Shaq on put him in All State. Yeah.
Oh yeah, All State.
I can hear him say that.
Well, he got the General.
Yeah, he got the General. So.
Man got his own pair of glasses he's selling.
So maybe that's the NBA talk. We're gonna finish out with Miss Michelle Tafoya. So let me see if I can pull up this article of Miss Michelle Tafoya. So the news on her, we talked about her last week. And she's done with football and she wants to go into politics. And she made a big splash. It made headlines. What she accomplished, what she set out to do by saying the things that she said, because it garnered attention. She's gotten, I guess, guest spots on CNN. She was a guest host on The View last season. But The View, they have her back as a guest host on The View. But there's one problem with her being back on The View. The fans of The View don't want her there. They're coming out in droves saying that they don't want her there. They don't like her views, and they thought she was one of the worst guest hosts that they've ever had. So that's the one thing about being controversial and saying what you want to say, trying to get those clicks, like Enos Freedom Cantor, or whatever his name is now. Same thing. He set himself up for a career in politics by talking about LeBron, China, and all of that. And now he's done with, look like he's about to wrap up with basketball, and he's already got a spot with CNN or something like that. So this is the drawback to you wanting to be controversial. With the place like The View, the fans run that, man. So whether they want you there or not, it's not CNN where you could put somebody on and they're like CNN people like, we don't want him there. Shut up, he making us money or she making us money, and that's how it is. But the View are going to listen to their fans.
Well, let's go back to Miss Tafoya.
Yeah, Miss Michelle Tafoya.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I don't even understand what her point of view is. And maybe we need to close this out with politics anyway, man.
Yeah. We're gonna close it out with some politics.
I just feel that right now, when you have the President Trump praising Putin, and you have, we talked about this last week of, we want to educate kids without making them feel uncomfortable. So we don't want to teach history.
Yep.
And now, you really have to know history to understand what's going on right now with this Russian thing, man. From our perspective, it's so far away, and it's on the other side of the globe, and you just don't feel that it impacts us here in the United States. But man, if you go back in history, this is sort of like what happened in 1939 with Hitler. Nobody thought that, he invaded Poland, that he was going to invade France and Hungary and Belgium. Mm-hmm. And when you got a guy like Putin, mm-hmm. trying to basically in a midlife crisis, and he's trying to, return Russia to the USSR when they had all these republics and they had all this land, and they were over all those countries in the Eastern Bloc. And you have this guy that, this nuclear war threat is a threat. You got all these NATO nations, and they're right. So if they take Ukraine, and you got Poland as a NATO country, and then you have Russia bordering these countries, that any little flare up can come into something, So
yeah,
it's not. I've been watching CNN a little bit today, man, and it's just like, the world is about humanity. It ain't about power. It's about, when you disrupt families and you have kids, mama's trying to be strong on TV, but they got tears behind them because, they want to stay strong in front of the children.
Yeah.
Then you hear all types of explosions going on outside your town, and you don't feel safe in the apartment or the house you living in. And you don't know if they're going. Man, I saw the Ukraine president this afternoon was in military gear and was on the streets like he was an army soldier.
Yeah. So speaking of which, the Klitschko brothers, mm-hmm. The boxers, they're fighting for Ukraine. That day I saw an article about it, and they're going to fight for Ukraine. So this goes beyond sports, man. Stuff like when something like this is going on, there's nothing else more important than that, because people are losing their lives. When I saw the video of the bombs raining down, I said, man, it's really real.
Yeah, well, Russia shot, they showed a video that Russia shot a bomb that hit apartment complex. I mean, it's a high-rise apartment, and it just bottom blowed out the windows outside, and it's just like, man, it's just like we haven't seen war. War is a bad thing, man. It's like and the way this thing going, every citizen in the Ukraine feels that they're going to bear arms to fight for their homeland. They don't want to be under the jurisdiction and rule of Putin, and even though like Russian, the Ukrainians are Russians basically, but they're independent. They want democracy.
Yeah.
And I just hope for the next. I just, sometimes you have to forecast, but man, I just hate that we done went from COVID, and now we're going into the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna have about 100,000 troops in Europe. The gas prices are going up.
Yep.
And man,
China's on the border of Taiwan.
We just boy, these 2020s just, I mean, like
It's really real.
We from one thing to the next. But we have sports to take our mind off of it, though.
You do. Nesco say, I saw a poll today that say most Republicans favor Putin over Joe Biden. How sick has the good old USA gotten that a major part of the United States of America would favor Putin over any American president? Unbelievable. Yeah, his approval rating was like 33%, and I was shocked that it was that high.
You know what, man? But I thought never in our lifetime, just what Ernesto said, that we would hear what he said about that Republicans, there are some Republicans, including the past president, who feels that Putin is right. And the big picture is this is democracy versus communism.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. Was when they elected Donald Trump president, I knew we would be forever staying. Trump is like turkey can't flesh. Now, one thing I will say about Trump, he had his ways and he had his issues, but this is not a Trump thing. This has been going. That they were going to go to war regardless because this has been brewing. So you can't blame this on him. One of the things that he was good at, and if you want to tell the story, tell the whole. Just don't tell the negatives of Orange Man bad. Talk about his relations with foreign countries and his economics and how he ran the economy were superior. He did a good job at that. His issue is that he was a bully. He X'd out the media. The media, I didn't know the media. One of the reasons why they got him off social media is because the media was pissed that he went outside of them and put out his own information. Because, that's why he did the CNN fake news and all of that. So they wanted him out of there. So he failed at some of the intangibles to the presidency, but I don't know. I've heard the thing floated of if he was still in office, this wouldn't be going on. And I don't know.
I don't know about that, but I'll say this, Brandon.
I don't know.
His biggest mistake is this: when it comes to international, when it comes to foreign policy, you cannot have a United States president who talked down about NATO. If it wasn't for NATO, we may not have won World War II. Yeah. To be honest, that's the situation we in right now. And some people don't even understand this. But if Russia crosses Poland, it would be the same as Russia crossing to New York. We would, under the terms of NATO, we would have to fight. We would have to defend Poland because they're part of NATO.
Yeah.
Putin felt that Ukraine was on the borderline of becoming a NATO nation. But you can't have a president like Trump who basically was trashing NATO, saying it's not worth our investment. They taking too much money. They're not living up to what they're doing. And you can't say those things if you're United States president, man, because
Yeah. What about some of the conspiracy theorists I was hearing about Biden's interest in what's going on? Because he was the diplomat when he was vice president. He was the diplomat to Ukraine for the U.S. and his son was on Ukraine's energy board.
Yeah, but if he was, it ain't got nothing to do with what's going on now. Ukraine is not going to be a country, and it may not be one after tonight.
Yeah.
And that's the long-term effect of all of this, man. If they grab up Ukraine, what do you think? You don't think they're going to take more? You
Yeah.
don't think they'll go in and take Romania? You don't think they'll go try to take Poland? You don't think they'll go Moldova? All these countries that used to be part of their, you know. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand. But when the Soviet Union dissolved, those countries broke apart from the Russia. The people broke away, not the government. The people.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted democracy in those countries that broke away.
Yeah.
And Russia, you know, basically didn't have power to stop it. They didn't want to be on the communist rule anymore. But man, I just hate that we have to go back and you look back in history in the 60s and you had the Cold War, you go back to Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you have everybody under panic watch about nuclear war and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know, man. I feel that diplomatically we have slept under the wheel. You
Yeah.
know, we gotta have a UN council. We have to have things in place and have plans in place to because this guy, I don't think he fears the United States at all.
No,
To
he
be
said when
honest,
Trump was president, he favored Putin over his own FBI.
he did.
Trump is a known liar. You can never trust a known liar. Yeah, he's lied. I think they said like 14,000 times or something during his presidency. Say Trump destroyed the lives of those 5 boys in New York and still won't apologize for his influence. Yeah, the Central Park Five. Yeah, he still hasn't apologized for that. Yeah, I mean he's not a saint, but I will say I don't feel comfortable with Joe Biden right now at all.
Well, he's not powerful. I mean, he hadn't shown me
None of that.
strength. He hadn't shown me. You got a guy from West Virginia who basically doesn't got show that he got more power than the president. He done stopped everything on his agenda.
Yeah,
Manchin, Munchin, or whatever the hell his name is. I mean, he's shown to have more power than the president.
yeah. To the point where I seen Charlemagne the God asked the vice president Harris, "Who's running it? Who's running it? Him or Manchin?" And
Yeah,
she got pissed off when he asked her that. But it's a valid question.
yeah, but we can't have tokenism, man. You can't have okay, if you came in the office and you say you're gonna get this done, you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, because what we're looking at right now is going in his second year in office. What the hell has he done? Other than I drove through Orlando last night and it was man, they might as well shut the interstate down with all the construction going on. But man, like you can fix the roads and the bridges, but that ain't putting no food on the table. It ain't sending. It ain't gonna stop sending troops overseas. It ain't stopping Putin. So, you gotta have a. I mean,
Yeah,
I just hope things turn around because man, he's got to show. He's got to be like FDR strong. He's got to change the
yeah,
domestic. He's got to. He's gonna have a war in Europe. And man, you can't be around here like scuffling and talking about sanctions and we're gonna improve the we're gonna upgrade the sanctions and that ain't. I mean, what is that gonna do? That ain't stopping.
that's not sanctions. Ain't stopping a thing, man. A thing.
Man, you
I
got this country defending itself, man. They not sending any weapons to this. It's hard to watch, man. You got these people. I mean, there's a 71-year-old lady on there say that she gonna have a gun and try to defend her land. I mean, we're gonna have some ugly pictures of bloodshed here.
yeah, we are. I've seen the reporters. Reporters are already there. They taking the photos. They got the videos.
Yeah.
They about to document everything.
So it's gonna get ugly before it get better. But man, we in a war in Europe, man. It ain't in the history books.
Yep. So they say Trump killed diplomacy, did nothing for the economy of the people. Fortune 500 companies raked in billions during Trump's presidency. No president is perfect, but I'll take a president that's for the people over one that's for himself and a liar. Well, which he gets credited for this because on this watch it did go down again, but it started with Obama. Unemployment trended downward with Obama, and it continued with him as well. And the economy was up. It was. Now they raked in billions, of course, the companies and stuff like that, and definitely with when COVID hit and now the billions, those companies didn't lose their, like the mom and pop shops lost. Amazon is taking off because now you don't have the people anymore. The people don't run anything. It's only corporations. They say the future basically is going to look like this. You're going to own nothing and like it. So ownership going forward is that's the only thing you need to be talking about is owning whatever it is you want. You need to own it.
Well, let me say this: if we have a all-out war in Europe, we're gonna probably pay over $4 a gallon for gas. You're probably gonna look at interest rates, probably between 4.8 to 5.3.
Yeah.
You know, oil prices will be higher, wheat prices will be higher, cereal. I mean, inflation is high now; it'll be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't a good time, man. To be honest, I mean, it's not to be a doomsayer, but it's a lot that can happen with this thing, and it ain't like, you know, a lot of people can say, man, it ain't in my backyard, so I ain't worried about it, but. I don't know, boy. Like I say, I study history a lot.
Yeah. He said you got to understand how sanctions work. Sanctions cut off the money and the war machine supplies. So the sanction will cut Putin's weapon supply. It can cut Putin's weapon supply, but what happens when they decide to sell oil to China? You're not going to stop anything. They start selling oil to China.
Or what if he just decide that, okay, we're not going to get our goods from the free world, we just get them from China. China has everything.
Everything.
China doesn't need to bring in imports from anywhere. They got it all there.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what scared the most. We sat back and let them become the global power with everything, and we did nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
We were at war. If we were at war, I just say that we were at war, we'd have a much tougher time defeating China than we would Russia.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah. And that's including the 20 to whatever it is, 30 nations of NATO, and the whole world could be in this war against China. And it'd be a tough battle to win.
Yeah. Yeah. They have, I think, the largest military in the world.
So. Yeah, they got not only that, they got they got more money than any other country in the world too. Technology. They had cell phones 10 years before the United States ever even heard of a cell phone.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it or heard about it, hypersonic missiles. They did a test on one already, and that thing looked like it could take out Jacksonville, Florida, easily, no issue. So if things start to especially go nuclear, that's going to be a big issue.
Well, speak no more, man.
Speak no more. Yeah, speak no more. We're gonna cut it.
I don't want to hear about what you call it, man.
Hypersonic missile, man. I saw that and I was like, eesh.
So was it big or hyper? Like what? Gets from China to Jacksonville in what, about 2 minutes?
Let's hold on. Let me see. Let's go. You know what? We're gonna pull it up real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, for those who still watch, you know, hey, we talking a little politics. You know, we pretty much done, but we gonna get into this right here. So let's see. So see, there we go. It's hypersonic missiles. And I see somebody on Twitter talking about it one day, and I was like, oh, you know, everybody got missiles. Everybody got, you know, different
China is the only weaponry. One that hypersonic missile.
Well, it's supposed to spread now because I see where Russia has them as well. Let's see so right here. See, Russia's new hypersonic missile, the Tsarkin missile, was fired from Norwegian sector of Barents. So let's see. Does any country have hypersonic missiles? Currently, only 2 nations possess operational hypersonic weapons, China and Russia. It is important to remember, however, that the operational is a subjective term. Russia, perhaps more so than any military nation, has a long history of claiming military capability they truly yet to master. So what they're saying is Russia supposedly has them, but it may not be available yet, and they can't use them. But China is ready to go because they've been testing them already. Okay. And so let's see. Here are the hypersonic missiles that Russia and China have in service. So I guess that's a photo of some of them right there. That looks scary.
Yeah, that don't look right, man. Not with the tip look like that, bro.
Man, say in recent years, an arms race unlike any since the Cold War has begun to manifest. This was December 2021. He said, with the world's most powerful nations competing to field the first, most powerful, or the most capable hypersonic weapons. He says, so missile comparison. So a subsonic, which is a cruise missile, 0.17 miles per second. You got the supersonic air-to-air missile, Mach 1 to Mach 5, 0.25 to 1 mile per second. And then the hypersonic, the future missile, is Mach 5 and above, less than 1 mile per second.
It goes 1 mile per second?
Less than 1 mile. Yes, he said weapons are currently considered all but indefensible. Yeah, they're indefensible right now. They're indefensible at scale thanks to not only their high velocity, but because of the maneuverability allowed by some modern hypersonic designs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't detect them. And shit, you talking about shooting that rocket from China, it'll get to the United States in less than 20 minutes.
Yes. So they say they got two kinds of hypersonic missiles. They got hypersonic glide vehicles. He said, well, so when people talk about hypersonic weapons, they're usually referring to one of two kinds, the glide vehicles and the cruise missiles. So I seen China with the cruise missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, the hypersonic glide vehicles aren't all that different from the warheads on traditional long-range ballistic missiles, at least in the early stages of their flight path. They're carried into the upper atmosphere via high velocity, just like traditional ICBMs. The missile then deploys on one or more glide vehicles that rely on momentum and control surfaces to manage their high-speed descent as they close on their target. So it's going to go out of the atmosphere and come back in, then hit its target. Boy, look at here, man. This is hey, I'm telling you, people, a lot of people don't know about this stuff, man. You read up and get and get acquainted with this stuff. He say Russia is the most advanced, Derek Hulsey say. Yeah, that's what it looks like. China's right behind them. He say the Bible speaks about China being the true enemy, not Russia. Yeah.
I agree with that, man. Because you know
China's
what? The thing about China is nobody knows what they're capable of. Nobody knows what they have, and they don't need anybody. They don't. You throw sanctions on China, it ain't gonna matter.
Right.
I mean, they control the markets anyway.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is using their products. They're not bringing in products into China. They sending their products out. Everybody buying them, and China has always been that way. Their whole history. They didn't need the outside world. They always been independent.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with what he said. They would be the one country that could survive on its own without needing any other country for assistance. They don't need oil from the Middle East. Mm-hmm. They don't need oranges from Florida. Mm-hmm. They don't need Russian oil. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't need anything on the outside world. They got it all there.
Yeah.
And it's just that the scary part about China is you don't know what goes in, what goes out. You don't know what their military capability. They don't share much.
No, they don't. Dave Chappelle talked about it on one of his stand-ups. It was funny. He said that majority of people in this country is racist, and everybody in China is Chinese. That's the difference.
They don't have some race that the Mongolians don't like the Chinese. So.
Oh yeah, they've had their issues, but you can tell that whatever issues that they have, no matter whether it's China, Japan, or whatever, you better believe outsiders come in. It's like brother and sisters fighting. When an outsider comes in, their attention is going to turn on the outsider.
Yeah, and it's just amazing that if you look back on World War II, You know, Japan went into China and just basically destroyed China in 1937. And you look from 1937 to right now, how far advanced that China has come over this last century. It's amazing, man. No other country has made the progress in a nation as quickly as China has.
Yeah.
I mean, China was a sovereign nation who just, I mean, they couldn't win a war. They lost the Opium War. England came in and they were selling them. You know, China wouldn't buy opium from England. So, England just said, okay, we'll take over your country and we'll dispense it to your people, whether you want it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was I about to say? I can't remember what I was about to say. It was about China, but yeah, they're about them being at war and them losing all those wars. What they did was they went back to the drawing board. They got better. One of the things that I saw that they recognized was the fact that their boys were in a bad state, just like the boys here in this country. The boys aren't doing well in this country. China put in their curriculum in the schools masculinity courses because they see the future. They see what's coming. If you don't get the boys on track, you're not going to win anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hey, they better, man. We got to figure some stuff out, man, because we're not that World War One. They showed where it escalated and how fast it escalated. It escalated over a couple of months, and that's only because of technology. Now this can escalate day by day because the technology is superior to them.
Yeah. Well,
that's the only reason it took them so long. They was on horseback and they had terrible communication back in the day. That ain't the case today.
Well, just what we said earlier. If Russia was to go in and just say they have a cyber attack on Poland, just say that out of nowhere that the cyber attack was intended for the Ukraine and it extended into Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, they might have had a war exercise in Poland and Russia mistakenly thought that they were shooting at their aircraft from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And if Poland gets into a situation with Russia, the United States is obligated under the terms of NATO that they would have to help to defend Poland would be the same as if Russia came to Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by them taking the Ukraine, if they take it, you know, Ukraine borders Poland.
Yeah, it does. Man, so you say China got their hands on everybody. When was the last time you bought anything that said "Made in America"? We'll wait, never.
Yeah. 1940. When it was American, the Model T cars and those kind of China smart, man. China's been smart for a long time. You know, you can win a war by making countries like making them economic dependent of you. And China has won that war. Because you see things now, you see like right now, okay, they're saying that we're going to have all these sanctions on Russia. Russia get a lot of exports and, they're making $1 billion on Germany from that pipeline that Germany don't want it. That Germany stopped it, so they're losing billions on the oil not going to Germany.
Yeah.
But China is in a part of the globe that it's just too far, to ship things, and it's just always been that distant far west country that they've had to survive on themselves.
Yeah.
And we don't know a lot. The highest elevation in the world is in China. China could shoot weapons and nobody would even know about it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody will know about it. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, well, I think we pretty much covered that. A little different. Got a little politics going, man, because this is important. This is important. This is more important than anything we talked the first 2 hours. This is something that, people need to educate themselves. I know we live in comfort. We're in a utopia, but you need to educate yourself and be aware of what's going on. Who got the best shoes? Who look this? Who's sleeping with who? Who's in a relationship with this? None of that stuff matters at the moment.
Nah, it don't matter, man. You always have to make sure you're looking down the road. You want your children's future to be stable like your future. You don't want your children in a world where we clashing with democracy and communism.
Yeah.
That fight been going on a long time.
Yeah.
The Cold War. We had Vietnam because of that clashing. And we don't want to send kids to war. You don't want to have your son suiting up to go fight a war in Europe.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a lot to think about, man. This is not just, this ain't the short, it looks short term, but this is a long term problem, man.
Yeah, this right here, what we're going into, expected to last a couple years. This is not going to be over quickly.
Yep. World War I started when through assassination with the Serbian king and the German king, and it escalated. And it's just similar, one simple thing turned into a problem. One problem turned into another problem. One country declared war, another country declared war, and then you have a world war. So we ain't going that far yet, but
right,
our world is changing, my brother.
Yeah, think about where we were before 2020, and look at where we are just 2 years. Completely different place.
I'm almost to the point to say that we're in the 20s, 2000 in the 20s. These 10 years of the 20s is almost to comparison to the 60s and the 40s. 60s was civil rights, 40s was war years. The whole, basically almost, half of the 40s was war years. War ended in 45, started in 39. And they say out of those 2 decades of the 40s and the 60s, it had more impact in this century than any other decade.
Yeah.
World War II changed the world.
Yeah.
Civil rights movement, civil rights legislation changed America. Civil Rights Act of 65 and the Voting Rights Act changed the course of this country.
Yeah, it did.
You look at George Floyd when we started the decade picking him in the street from the George Floyd situation.
Mm-hmm. We're not too far removed from protests, people. Like come on, that just happened. Yep. That just happened. People burning stuff, tearing stuff up, destroying the city. That just happened. We're not too far removed from that.
Well, who's to say it can't happen again?
Right. At any time. We're in highly volatile times where all it's going to take is just one triggering event, and there could be the domino for other things. Like right now, Russia has triggered a domino effect, and it's going to reverberate throughout the whole planet. And every government of every country, province, state, whatever, they have their eyes on what's going on, and they're making plans according to what's going on. So, like, say somewhere like it says North Korea. If I'm North Korea, if I'm the government, I'm like, hey, they get froggy, they start taking more land. China swoops in to take Taiwan. We're going to get South Korea.
Oh, North Korea, yeah, especially with the media in play.
Yes.
But that's how I think. But that's what you just said. Those are the things that have changed. I mean, that's what happened in the past.
Yeah.
You talk about Russia. You talk about in the 40s when Germany invaded Poland. Well, Italy went into North Africa and took all those countries.
Yeah.
And then they formed the alliance with Germany, and then they formed an Axis, and then Japan came in. And while Germany was invading France and taking over Europe, Japan was trying to do the same thing in the islands of the Pacific. And that's how I do it. It's just like, hey, this is the time that this is going on. Then you see this country say, man, this is our best time to do what we need to do. And we want to acquire land. Wars has always been about acquiring land
and resources.
Taking over resources and just trying to get more resources to extend the nation and power. Is all ego, it's all power. I mean, Germany was all about egos, and he just made the mistake of trying to take over Russia.
Yeah. See, China is the top trader in the world. More countries buy from them than any other country on the earth. Yeah, they got most goods going in and out. Just think if China stopped making cell phones, this world would cripple greatly. That's powerful, and that's just cell phones. Let's not mention if they took their technology away from the U.S., we're done. Russia wouldn't even survive. So this is where Trump was ahead of the curve. Trump warned them about TikTok and told them that was basically a Chinese intelligence app. That's what it is. And inviting it in was going to cause more problems. And he was right. He was right. Russia was able to get in and along with that on the coattails of China, and they've been able to get stuff that you can't get out of China, they've gotten out of the U.S.
Yeah, but Trump also, we don't know what he shared with Putin.
And that's the other thing. We don't know. And I'm pretty sure those 4 years Trump was there, he was able to get access that he didn't have in the past.
Yeah, exactly. You can't trust Putin. And I hope we ain't got no Russian spies on this Facebook page, but you can't trust the guy. Watch CNN.
He said Trump should have warned us about Trump.
Well, just hope we learn the lesson and don't put him back in office, huh?
Yeah, because they got to find Biden. Biden not gonna win again. He's not.
Then how you boy Urban Meyer go watch the Super Bowl with Trump?
Oh, that's what he did. I'm not surprised at that.
That's what he did.
It's Urban Meyer. So I'm not surprised.
He had the Margot logo or whatever the hell it is in Palm Beach, and they got photos of him watching the Super Bowl party with Trump.
It fits him. That fits him. Yeah. That fits him.
The world
they got it. One of the things they have in common is apparently in public they're gonna grab women by the you know what. So they I'm sure they're blood brothers at this point.
Well, the good thing is he's an afterthought.
That's the only good thing.
He's an afterthought in Jacksonville. Who cares what Urban Meyer does now? He can go back to Fox and televise or analyze college football. Ain't nobody in this town gonna care.
He said he'll take Biden over Trump 100 times over. Yeah, a lot of people probably would, but
he's got to be more powerful, man. You got to deliver.
I don't like what I'm seeing.
This is turbulent times, and you got to be an actionary president and not a reactionary. And I commend what he did today. Nominated the first Black female to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
There's been some things he done, but he just got to get more. I mean, we can't have, right now inflation is at the highest in like the last 6 years.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to give stimulus checks again either.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me that so I can put it up. Yeah, because the times we're in now, I was like, what'd you say?
I said, it wouldn't hurt at all, man. We done went through the COVID, but now we about to deal with war. We're going into the war years, so I don't know.
Yeah, and then this other thing about with what's going on in Ukraine, they always want to talk about gun control and things like that and the gun laws. And, we have an issue, but Ukraine right now, they passing out everything. You a citizen and you able-bodied, you can go get a weapon right now.
CNN had something about that today, though.
What did they say?
They had a brother in there with a truck with a guy, and he said that he was going to defend his country. and he went to these different I forget what they call it. It's like the Ukraine deposit or something like that, where it's the actual site where you can get a weapon. And this guy he was on his third place trying to get a rifle, and he could not get one.
Right.
So,
wow.
But man, it just I guess the reason why I want to talk about, man, it's just hard to see things, man, where you got city. Can just imagine if we were in America. Well, we are in America, but if we were in America and we were in Ukraine situation where you literally looking for weapons to defend your country. You have no military training, and you things are such desperation that you are outnumbered 3-1, and that just being, it could even be 4-1. They got 170,000 troops, and I don't know what the Ukraine army is. But can you imagine that a city, that the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv or whatever it's called, it's 3 million people there, which would be the size of Miami. The whole metro Miami is about 3 million. Tampa, it'd be the population size of that. That's the size of their capital. It's a metro. It's a city. It's a big city, capital city.
Yeah.
And you got Russia on the outside. You living in that city tonight, and you can hear the bombs going off you can hear them and see them. That the troops are coming into your city, and you got citizens in that town that has no weapons. You got women and children that they don't have bomb shelters in the capital of Ukraine. So the people are in the subway stations. Can you imagine that? I mean, you got kids sleeping out in subway stations for the last 2 days. Don't know where they go. And
imagine what's going on, the debauchery going on in the subway. Because is police down there in the subway with them?
Probably. I don't know how long. How. I mean, at that point, what do you do with law and order? I mean, what do you? They said people yesterday was heading to the banks to take money out the ATMs.
But I've heard that they've been talking about telling people they need to leave way before now. It's been a minute, and they said that
there've been some mistakes, man, because you're supposed to fortify after all them weeks where they had you had satellite pictures of the Russians building those troops up on the borders. And the Ukraine didn't, you're supposed to mine. You're supposed to have your wire. You're supposed to have the streets mined. You got to prepare it for war, because that's basically what it was, even if they wasn't saying it.
Yes.
And you got Russian troops tonight just freely sending tanks down the street without no fortification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And we're gonna see how this affects us going forward. It's not gonna be over. It's gonna get worse before it get better. But hey, just stay vigilant, man, and see what the future brings.
Man, we need this prayer that
we need prayer. Yeah, you need. Hey,
it ain't Pearl Harbor yet. But
hey, Grant, like Randy said, you gonna need the whole armor of God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, let's see. Get this last comment. See, Biden is getting rid of those student loans, like he said. Meanwhile, Trump still whined a year later about losing an election, lying about the value of his property, and mad because he's being prosecuted, getting caught lying about his property value to banks to get bigger loans. Do this so far as they come. That's businessman stuff. That right there, I don't care about that, because he's not doing anything other than what probably a lot of people with money just like him do. Because they're greedy. They're greedy and they hoard their money. So he's going to do anything to get the upper hand. He's just like anybody else with that. But is the whole student loan thing, you really think that that's happening? I don't think that that's happening. The only thing they're going to do is continue to do a stop payment, because I think it's stop payment until March 5th or May 5th or something like that, they said. And then they're probably going to extend it again. But them wiping out the debt completely, I don't see how they can do that.
Yeah, don't know, man.
I don't see how they can do that, man. But it is what it is. So
they don't wipe out taxes, and when you owe it 20 years from now, you still got to pay it back.
Yeah, where's this money coming from? That's the thing. Where's this money coming from? They say we $30 trillion in debt. It was 17 just 5 years ago, and it's 30 now.
Those loans part of it.
Right. So, well, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Picayune. We'll be back with another show next week. We have some more topics for you. Get this last comment. Appreciate you for tuning in. That is against the law. Man, you can't do it. I know people personally who got their letters, and I personally read them. They're the government. They make money. I have student loans, and I ain't got nothing. I got to stop payment. So unless there's something that they just did, so we'll see. But I don't know how they're going to be able to do that, Ness. I don't know. I don't think they can, but they go. That's how he got voted in. Let's be honest. How he got in office is because the last thing that pushed him over was that, because him running against Trump, that helped him anyway, because he had to run against anybody else, Biden would have lost. Let's not act like Biden is this great candidate. He was just better than Trump. He was the alternative to Trump. He ran against anybody else, he would have lost. But the thing that put him over the top was adding Kamala Harris and talking about canceling those student loans. So if he comes through on canceling student loans, then it was all worth it. But I am not comfortable with the current leadership of this country and direction we're going. Which is not. So
well, thankful you in America, because if you was in Russia.
Oh yeah, I understand. And the fact that I'm in this country and able to say this right now on a public platform is a testament to where we are in this country and where we come from. Hey, it's Russian YouTubers right now. They ain't talking about none of this right now.
No,
they can't say anything about Putin right now.
Nope, not even when he's wrong.
Yeah, not even when he's wrong. Shoot, I didn't know in certain countries where, like I know Thailand, whoever the president of Thailand, his face is on the dollar, and whether it's you rip the dollar, you leave it on the ground, you step on it, you can be jailed for that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can just imagine what it's like in other countries. They cry about freedom, but this is as free as you're gonna get, man.
Well, that's why those folks in the Ukraine, grandma at 71 with a rifle in her hand, because she don't want to live that way.
Yeah,
don't want to live in no authoritarian government where they tell you, well, this is your government ration, and this is it. You got no rights, Yeah.
You
cannot go on Facebook and have a podcast and talk bad about the government.
Right. You say being better than Trump is being a lot. Oh, I would agree with that. See, exactly, Uncle John. Putin killed all of his opponents. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, but appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next week. Any closing thoughts you want to give Mr. Reid before we got in?
Well, just hey, we gotta hang tough. The world is what it is. Going up to Indianapolis to see these prospects and see Doug Peterson and his crew, and I think better days ahead for the Jags.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so, man. But until next time, my people, we are out of here. Peace out, y'all.